we are going to do a Karax fast expand on Chain of Ascension, and we are going to be doing it versus Protoss first. So, first thing we want to do is get vision of the two forward photon cannons. So that's the first one. Getting a little bit poked here, but that's fine. That's the second one there. And now what you do is you just sneak over to the side. And now you just want to try and get a little bit of vision so you can set up your set of solar lances. Now, this is going to happen a little bit quickly, because you do not have vision of the pylon or the immortal or the stalker here. As soon as you start firing your solar lances, you will want to wait until you get to the respective point, and then you want to click there so you can lock in your next starting position. And you'll see what I mean here. So I get into my solar lance mode, and I want to basically, you can see the little bit of a shadow there for the cannon. Shoot a little bit below that shadow right there. So that's going to be solar lance number 1. Click and get ready for the next one. We're going to shoot one right down the middle there, and this will hit the pylon and the immortal, and then we take another shot like that. And if this is done correctly, the immortal would have died and the entire expansion is cleared. Player 2 this time, and same idea as player 1, you're going to be using your solar lenses to grant vision, the temporary vision, to lock in the starting position of the subsequent solar lenses. Now, over here there is a pylon, and then there's an immortal, and there's a stalker that is sitting somewhere off-center. So you can't get the stalker with your first solar lance. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your first solar lance to hit the immortal, and then your second one to pick off the stalker on the way back. Again, let's just get a little bit closer to the photon cannon over here. Okay, we can't get any more closer. So now what we do is we get our solar lance ready, and you'll see here that there's a little bit of a shadow. You can see here there's some rocks here, and that is your basically your landmark for being able to shoot the first solar lance. Take that, you'll hit the immortal, lock in your position, and now you'll see the shadow of this photon cannon. Shoot just below the shadow. Make sure you are going to end up hitting this photon cannon. You will need that. When you do that, you can finish off now these last set of photon cannons, and if you've done it correctly, it'll clear out everything except this pylon. This pylon will be sitting at somewhere like 7 HP, which you can just clean up with a probe. We are going to do a Karax fast expand on Chain of Ascension versus Terran, and we will be doing it from player 1's side first. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you get vision of this bunker. This is because when you get vision of this, it'll create a shadow when you position your solar lance, so it'll help you get your bearings correctly. Next thing you want to do is get vision of this diamondback, and this is going to be the starting point of our solar lances. Now, there is a second diamondback that is sitting somewhere in this location, and you want to hit that with your first solar lance when you clear out this diamondback and when you hit the missile turret. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to try and hit this diamondback here. You can see that there's a shadow of this bunker, and this diamondback is roughly in this location here. So we'll use that first, and when the solar lance moves through and hits the missile turret, you want to lock in your second solar lance as well. We'll click, get vision of this missile turret, and now we're going to hit this bunker. And when we do that, there's one more shot left, so we're going to just take it right across here and pick off the marauder as well that is standing. Now, it depends on how this unloads, but sometimes there may be an extra marine around, so you can just clean that up with just one orbital strike. And that is basically your expansion cleared. Player 2 this time. You can see that there is a bunker here, so what we're going to do is we're going to sneak our way up near the top side of this area. And this is basically enough. Now, there's a diamondback in this location, and there's a diamondback right down the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to send 2 solar lances right down the middle, taking out this missile turret, taking out this bunker, the diamondback, and that diamondback, and what will happen is that the Marines will unload from this bunker, so then we can take one more shot and clear out the Marines as well. So, we take one shot like so. Take another shot like so. And pay attention, you can see the Marines did unload on this other side. So just take one more shot here, and this should basically clean up the entire expansion. We are going to do a Karax fast expand on Chain of Ascension versus Zerg from player 1's side first. You can see that there's creep here, which is how I know we're dealing with Zerg. And the first thing we want to do is we want to move our probe all the way down to the back of this expansion. Now, there is a borrowed Ultralisk that is somewhere over here. And in order to kill this Ultralisk, we need to hit it with all 3 Solar Lances. And we want to try and maximize our value for the rest of the Solar Lances, obviously. So what we want to do, our first Solar Lance is going to go somewhere here and kill off the Zerglings that are sitting on the front of the expansion. So that's shot number 1. Shot number 2 is going to try and clip this aberration, like so. And when we get vision of the aberration, we are going to lock in our last and final Solar Lance. So just like so. And now we are just going to kill off everything here. You see the Ultralisk ends up dying. Now if you've done this correctly, you would maybe have 2 or 3 Zerglings left over, which you can clear with 1 Orbital Strike. And this thing is not going to block your expansion, so you can just put down your Nexus right away. And that is your expansion done for player 1's side. Player 2 this time. Again, same thing. You can check the creep on the minimap. We can just see the terrain over here. We know that we're dealing with Zerg. We're going to sneak our guy all the way down to the back here. Now this aberration is the important one because we're going to be focusing our Solar Lances on this guy. You can see that we have a Spine Crawler here. So what we want to do is we want to send 1 Solar Lance near to the top of the Spine Crawler. We want to send another Solar Lance near the bottom of the Spine Crawler. And the last thing we want to do is get vision of the Spore Crawler over there. You can see that Spore Crawler here. So, starting over here, you can see the shadow of the Spine Crawler and you can see the shadow of the Spore Crawler. So, right above the shadow, that's shot number 1. Right below the shadow, that's shot number 2. And then from here, right on top of this Spore Crawler, and that is shot number 3. And if you've done that correctly, you'd have completely cleared out this expansion. The only thing that's left here is this Spore Crawler, which you can just pick off with a probe and then put down your expansion.